them. Wyoming and Fresno State. Fresno State 15-point home favorites, 50.5 being the total in this game. Now, I'm always interested in Wyoming catching this many points, but again, I'm more interested at home as opposed to on the road. On the road, it can be a little bit more dicey. And Fresno State, obviously, it's very simple for them. They are on collision course to be in the Mountain West championship game. And in fact, I think they have clinched it already because against San Diego State, remember, they came back and they beat San Diego State, stole that game from them. And because of that, they have already clinched the Mountain West division at 6-1 in the conference. So yeah, it will be a Boise State, Fresno State, Mountain West championship game next week. That'll be a good game, by the way, those two teams for sure. So what does that mean this week? It means I ain't laying 15 with Fresno. That's what it means. I mean, I'm not rushing to lay double digits with teams that have already locked everything up, and that's exactly it. Now, it is the final home regular season game, no question about that. But one thing about Wyoming is they don't impress people statistically. People are saying, how is this team? Craig Bohl's done actually a hell of a job. 7-4 with this bunch. We thought was just going to be a really tough year for them. They've had very marginal quarterback play all season long, whether it was Peasley, who was injured, and then they bring in now Jaden Clemens. And, he only had 3 completions last week. But the reason why they've been competitive, 3 completions he had, believe it or not, 3 of 16 against Boise. But the reason they've been competitive is they got one hell of a running back and run game led by Titus Swen, and they've got a very good opportunistic defense that forces turnovers, gets stops when they need it, and maybe that's enough here against, like I said, a Fresno State team with really not much, if anything, at stake here in this game. Now, they've been great with Jake Haener back. We see the way they've been pulverizing teams like Nevada last week, 41-14. But they had a tough game with UNLV. They only won by 7. And I just feel in this spot with how Wyoming's defense has played a lot better than people have thought coming into this season. It might not be easy for Fresno to build a margin here in this game, especially, again, with the Mountain West Championship game that they've already clinched a spot in coming up next week. So definitely lean Wyoming here. What do you think, Connor?
Yeah, you just mentioned we like Wyoming at home a lot more, but Wyoming won their last 3 straight on the road. And not great teams, but they've gotten wins. This just seems a little bit too high here. 15, just a little bit out there. And yeah, to see Wyoming, like sometimes the stats, like you mentioned, they can't throw it, but they can run. The defense can make plays. And how much Fresno really, really cares in this one. They've been good since Haener's back, and he looks like more like his old self, before the injury and is rolling. But I just think this might be too much. This is one I don't know if I get to the window here, but I'd be on Wyoming. I think these points is just too many.